beautiful humans. I'm Jen Madrone, and today I want to talk about the different layers or waves of awakening. I want to talk about the fact that awakening is almost never, there are some rare cases, but almost never a one and done experience. There's always more and more layers of awakening and more layers of the ego to peel back. And so oftentimes we start the awakening process and it's extremely intense, and we just get slammed with so many things to heal, to look at, to reorientate ourselves to this new way of seeing things and this new way of being alive and being in the world. And it's so challenging and it shakes us to the core. And sometimes, we just have to breathe to get through it. And oftentimes we battle with feeling a bit insane or just extremely confused. So many symptoms that we talk about in here, so I'm not going to go through them all. But then we get to a point where things start to calm down and mellow out, and maybe we've gotten some help to get to that point, which is really helpful. And maybe we've just done enough work to move through the things that have come to the surface. And we get a breather and we get a moment to appreciate the work that we've done and to start to appreciate life again. And then so often we get slammed again. A whole new layer of lessons, a whole new layer of understanding, a whole new layer of detoxing on every level of our body happens. And we feel like we're right back to where we started. And it can be so challenging to be there and frustrating because we felt like, oh, I got through the hard part. And oftentimes, the first couple of years of awakening is like this, just one storm, a little bit of a break, and then another one, and another one. And then often after that, it becomes a little more subtle, it becomes a little more gentle, we're a little more grounded, and we have more tools to work with these storms of transformation as they come through us. But remembering that it's always different for everybody. This process is completely different, and so there's no blueprint. There's no map of it. It's always very different. But these are just generalities that I see in my clients and from other people's experiences, including my own. Because if it all happened at once, it could be just totally destructive, because we know how challenging, how difficult, how crazy making it is even when it happens in waves. And so imagining if the whole ego was just ripped off in one night or one period of time, and then you're done, we might not survive. And possibly many people who have ended up in the mental hospitals, perhaps that's the case, who knows. So it's actually quite a gift to have these layers peeled back a little bit at a time and have a breather in between and time to process and time to collect ourselves. But we just can't become complacent. We can't think that we're all done, we've done all the work that we need to do, and everything's going to be fine. Because when that happens, usually we get slammed extra hard. Our ego gets a huge hit because it's the ego that's saying, I'm good, I figured it out, we're good. And then bam, you just get smacked in the face by the universe who says, actually, you have a lot more to learn. And so, whether it's gentle or whether it's extreme, these waves keep happening over and over, peeling off more and more layers of the ego, clearing away more and more trauma, more and more toxic programmings and limiting beliefs each time, and teaching us more and more about ourselves and who we are and how we can connect more deeply to that, to our true and authentic self. And so these layers and these waves of awakening are really essential to the process. They're really important for us to continue our process of spiritual evolution and growth. And what I'm finding or seeing now, as we've been talking about, I see so many correlations with what's happening in this current moment with the COVID crisis, with the quarantine, the pandemic, that correlate to the awakening process. Because we've had this event that we're still in that has shaken the whole world and changed everything as we knew it, shaken our whole lives up. And we know that so often that is the catalyst for transformation. You know, whether we had a divorce, it was the death of someone that we love dearly, whether it was a disease or an accident or who knows what, a twin flame experience. There's so many things that can catalyze this awakening experience. And so a global pandemic most definitely falls into that category. And so right now, people are being shaken to the core. Everything is different. And so the energy that we're experiencing, especially right now, I've been seeing it and like kind of tracking the energy and watching it change throughout this whole quarantine time. And right now, this energy is so chaotic. It feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, that everything is just crazy. All of our shadows are up on the surface to be looked at, all of our doubts and fears, all of our just uncertainty and unknowing is all coming to the surface. And so this is the perfect storm of awakening. This is the perfect storm of transformation where everything is coming to the surface so that it can be examined, acknowledged, healed, and released. And so we have to stay present with this process, even though it's extremely uncomfortable. Staying present with it is how we move through it, and how we move through it in a strong and productive way. And so knowing that you're not alone, that this is a global shakeup, and it's giving us this opportunity to do our own personal work. So it's this energy that's shaking up everything and crazy and causing this crazy collective energy, which then manifests in us as a shifting, internal shifting energy that causes our personal transformation, the next layer of our awakening process. And so just know that this is part of the process, a really important part of the process. And even though it's really uncomfortable and confusing and difficult to see what's going on because we're right in the middle of it right now, you know, there is a purpose and a process to it. So be really present with yourself, be present with the emotions that are coming up, with the triggers that are coming up, with what's moving through your body, and without projecting it onto other people or making up a story about it. Just being present with what's moving through you and acknowledging it, seeing it, and often tracking it to its origin is exactly what's needed to remove that next layer of the ego so that we can connect with our authentic selves more powerfully. So if you're in this place and you're having a really hard time figuring out how to work with this energy, how to even survive in this energy right now, and you just want some help moving through it, then please send me a private message and we can talk and see if the work that I do with my clients would be a good fit for you. So I'm just sending all of you so much love. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for staying conscious during these crazy times. And if you have any questions, please leave them here in the notes, the side notes. And we'll see you all in the Facebook group. Have a great night.